What's up, fam? It's your man, CB Jr., Courtney Robert Brown Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks, chiming back in. Before we get started, family, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're looking at us on any of the other platforms, on our IG or Facebook, make sure you're liking and sharing that stuff. We got some exclusive content coming up. So we're here putting in a little work. As again, you know, this month is my father, the Field Marshal, Mr. Vice President, the professor's 82nd birthday. So we're just doing some reminiscing on what an extraordinary life he has lived. You know, one of the last of the dinosaurs from the golden era of all of these things, you know, in the 70s, one of the last of that breed. And speaking of the last of the breed, he's from that last era. You know, so many of the figures that he ended up touching paths with in his career have come on to be pop culture, or just like famous, and he didn't know, or no one knew back in the day. From the real story of Ike Atkins, who is the guy who really, that they basically, Frank Lucas took kind of his story without getting all deep into that. But like Ike Atkinson, Sergeant Smack, you know, him and Pops did time in Atlanta together. They used to talk about how they would be playing cards with each other with, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in real cash. And that was from that last clique when the big kingpins from the inner city were so much in bed with the mob that when they all would get locked up together, they would still hang out. So an example, and then how some of these guys end up becoming a part of pop culture. Those who have seen the movie Goodfellas, the guy who's the boss in the movie Goodfellas, the character Paulie, right? Paulie's character is based upon a guy by the name of Carmine Trumanti. Carmine Trumanti was the acting boss of the Lucchese crime family, right? One of the Pop's good friends is good friends with Trumanti down, this is at the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary in the late 70s. So what they don't show kind of in Goodfellas, though, is that there was actually some black guys that would be involved in, I think it's the old man calls it, they were called the honorary dorms. That's where all the big mafiosos would stay, you know, were in the honorary dorms. But people like him, people like Ike Atkins, brother out of Baltimore, Jap, I believe was his name. There were some big fella brothers who had the same kind of privileges in the joint. I said a lot of those guys, Carmine Trumanti's character has been used there. And then there's another guy, very interesting guy by the name of Vince Papa that you guys could look up. He was another big guy in the Lucchese crime family, and he ended up meeting a very tragic demise because, again, how all these names end up crossing. At this time, Rudolph Giuliani, who is now your ex-president, Mr. Trump's main man, he was a U.S. prosecutor. So Giuliani, trying to make a name for himself, as he was beginning to do his investigation that would lead to the commission case, which would bring down all the Italian godfathers, he leaked that this guy named Vince Papa, who was a big associate of Carmine Trumanti and the rest of the people in the Lucchese crime family, was cooperating. So they're all in the Atlanta Penitentiary together. Vince Papa cuts into the old man, kind of like, can you talk to, you know, the guys you're eating dinner with, Carmine Trumanti and the other guys from the Lucchese family and some of his friends from the Gambino family, and explain to them this, that, and the third, that it ain't what they think. And the old man was like, basically, you know, I do what I can, but I'm not involved in you guys' affairs like that, and I don't want to get too caught up in you guys' affairs. And he reached out to a few other brothers who basically are, you know, I guess how the politics work when you're inside. But yeah, if you look it up, and then Vince Papa, maybe he said about 2 weeks after his conversation with Vince Papa, he got hit in Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, which is what led to them then sending and breaking up all of the mafiosos who were down there in Atlanta, which was kind of the main place where they used to send them. So yeah, so they've done, this guy Vince Papa, the A&E and all those crime channels, they've done all kind of stuff on him. Then Carmine Trumanti, the character Paulie, Michael and Sonny Franchise. Michael Franchise's got a big YouTube following now. He was down there with him, and his dad, Sonny Franchise, Carmen and Junior Persico. So just, he's crossed and rubbed shoulders with so many people. And on that note, while I'm thinking of that, that's actually a quote from Scott Bernstein. Scott was working with Al back in the day. Scott helped connect a lot of the dots. What's Scott and them's thing? Gangster Reports?
Yeah, it was the Gangster Report.
Gangster Report. Shout out to Scott Bernstein. He's been with us. He's when this whole thing started too, and he's a real mafia crime historian. Speaking of that, and the old man also used to walk the yard with, speaking of the Detroit mob, Tony Giacalone, they had mutual friends in Chuck and Irving Goldfarb, the bail bondsmen. So it's just been a fascinating ride. Against this all the month of shout out to Pops and what his journey and what his path has been. So it's your man, CB Jr. Hit like, share, and subscribe. We got some exclusive stuff coming up for you in 2021. So holla at you, man. Peace. What's up, family? It's your man, Courtney Robert Brown Jr. here in Dakar, Senegal. Yes, Big Boss is still in West Africa. We're going to be here for a few more days. And we're having an awesome time here, family. So, we hooking up with the brothers here at the Made in Africa Project. Just had a real positive meeting with the brother who owns a nightclub over here called Dream. He's doing some thing in the film industry. Got some studios. Atlantic Ocean right there. 2021. Look forward to be some of Big Boss's first projects coming out of the motherland. So we are very excited about that. So, anyway, guys, with all that's been going on this year in 2020, we didn't really get a chance to do the 10-year anniversary that we wanted to do for this project, which is what started the whole thing, the whole reason why there's even a YouTube channel, and why there was the award-winning documentary Motown Mafia, and all that came with that, and before all of this, the Kingpin's Kid Radio, and now Eddie Jr.'s channel. But this whole thing began 10 years ago. So this is the 10th anniversary of when this project began. It began with this book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of Kingpin's Kid. And so I know a lot of you guys, family, you actually know of me or Eddie Jr. or my old man or Fat Man's Legend. And you know it through YouTube. Some of you may have seen the documentary, which by the way is available at BigBossFilmworks.com or on Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, or most of your streaming platforms. You can still get the award-winning documentary Motown Mafia. And it all began with this book. Shout out to Lou Stevens, my partner. You never see much of him because he's usually behind the camera, but he has been the backbone of Big Boss Filmworks since we started this thing. So shout out to you, Brother Lou. But so as I was saying though, if you don't know the fact that why me and Eddie have been friends for all of our lives, Eddie Jr., how his dad and my dad have been friends for all of their lives. The real story on how Eddie Jackson Sr., the Fat Man himself, how he started and built that $1 million empire. We've attempted to unpack it, but if you really want the story, the in-detailed story, give the book a shout. It's also available on Kindle. It's also a history lesson, like in chapter 1, let's just say in the beginning, you get the whole background in chapter 1 of where Detroit was at in the 50s and 60s, the real story with Black Bottom. a feel of what Detroit was like in 1971, where the Detroit Tigers were doing, what the Pistons were doing, what was going on with the race relations in the city. And then the fact that that was the year that would change the course of the Fat Man's organization and everything. That was the year where he met the Gambino crime family. That was also the year where they had the raid on Hubble, which is still, I believe, standing the largest raid in narcotics history in the city of Detroit. So a lot of history, you know, in this book. And I just wanted to give a shout out. Who else? Michelle Moore, the Essence award-winning author, Hood Books. Say You Promise Enterprises, Say You Promise Publishing. Shout out to Michelle. She brought this home. You go, family. I'm not an author, so I put together the manuscript. Michelle Moore brought this project home. Anita Flanagan, the editor, Lou's auntie, you know, again. So shout out 10-year anniversary to the book and all the people who played a part in this thing, and it's just really cool, man. And now, you know, if you told us 10 years ago I might have said, yeah, I'll be in West Africa, but if you said 10 years ago, Courtney, you're gonna have a book road, and then the follow-up book, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you know, not the follow-up to this. Here's the follow-up, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. But then, you know, we did come out with another book called Get Your Mind Right, Get Your Money Right, Getting Off Zero. And just where the idea started, man. People have been telling me my whole life that I had lived an interesting life and stuff I had seen. You know, working for my father, just growing up next to Eddie Jackson, seeing their whole rise, fall, and rise again, and now to be over here in Africa expanding, you know, this Filmworks thing and this content creation to the motherland, hooking up with some brothers. It's just a blessing, man. So we look forward. Want to say thank you again, though. If you don't know, not got the full in-depth story. 10-year anniversary, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. Check it out. You can get it from our website, BigBossFilmworks.com. You can definitely get it from Amazon. And if you have not seen the award-winning documentary that followed up on that, you can definitely check that out on Amazon Prime. So, and Tubi TV, again, all the other ones. And the brothers here are taking good care of us in Senegal. So, good look, good shout out. Oh yeah, and with the 10-year anniversary, shout out to my man Al Prophet, what he's doing with American Dope out there. You know, Al has been very integral and just been a great assistance. We caught up with Al right when the book was coming out, and he's gone on to do some really big things. And yeah, shout out to Al Prophet, shout out to Cavario, shout out to what they're doing over at American Dope. It's all good. So I ain't gonna hold you guys up, but again, Big Boss Filmworks live, Dakar, Senegal, West Africa, 10-year anniversary book, Kingpin's Kid, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, Motown Mafia. Thank you all. Appreciate the support. Love you guys. Holla at you, man. Peace.